Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 3 more acts now. We're going to do some short previews for your entertainment before we get on to some more fun and games. So, just move the mics down the way. Up next, we have a performer from a wonderful show happening in the Buxton Fringe this year called Jordan. Please give a warm round of applause to Jordan.
Once upon a time, there was a miller, and he had a beautiful daughter with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and long golden hair. The miller was a boastful man, and one day they went to the king of all the land and told a tale of how his daughter could spin straw into gold. The king did not suffer fools lightly. He said to the miller, "Bring me your daughter, and she shall spin for me. If she can spin straw into gold, she shall be my wife. If she cannot, she shall die." At this the miller wept, for he loved his only daughter more than life itself. The girl was brought to the palace and locked in a chamber full of straw. In the corner was a spinning wheel. Alone, she picked up a handful of straw, and it fall between her fingers. She knew it would never be gold. "Oh, what am I to do?" she cried. "For tomorrow I shall surely die." I am waiting for a man in a wig to make a judgment about me, about us. And then she heard a voice. "What is the matter, a pretty maid?" And as she turned, she saw the smallest, strangest man she had ever seen. He was grinning wildly and had a beard down to his waist. "Why are you crying?" he said. She told him, "I must spin all of this straw into gold, and if I do it, I shall be queen. If I do not, the king will forfeit my life." The little man grinned wider. "I can do it for you," he said, "but in return you must give me something precious." "Anything," said the miller's daughter, "anything I own." "You must give me your son. If you become queen, you must give me your firstborn child." Taken away. 2 little words like drops of acid. Who knew what would happen, thought the miller's daughter, for she had no son. She certainly would never be queen. She agreed at once. The mannequin sat down at the spinning wheel, and singing through the night, he spun the straw into gold. And when his work was done, he got up, walked towards the window. "Farewell," he said, disappeared. The room was glowing with gold, and when the king saw this, he was dazzled. He knelt before the miller's daughter, and they were betrothed. It took me away from the little shop I worked in, fizzy drinks, tea towels, things made out of seashells, us roaring down prom, old lady strolling by. I thought, it should come to no good, I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I felt awake. "Give me your son," he said, "and I will be there the next day." And when the queen gave birth to her first baby boy, the king was so proud of his beautiful young queen, who could not only spin straw into gold, but produce a son, an heir to the kingdom. The queen, in the meanwhile, had forgotten about her promise to the strange little man who had spun straw into gold. She lived in blissful happiness until one day, alone in the garden with her child she heard singing, and her heart turned to ice, for she recognised the voice. She took up her child and turned quickly back towards the palace, and there he was, the weaver of gold, standing before her with his beard tucked into his belt. "I have come to claim my prize, fair queen." "What do you mean?" said the queen. "Your son. You must give me your son as you promised." "Dear Miss Jones, my client has instructed me to begin proceedings." And then something about custody, unfit mother. The queen was terrified. She offered the little man all the wealth of the kingdom if she could keep her child. The little man grinned. "I would much rather some living thing than all the wealth of the land. Now give me what you promised me." The queen was terrified. She threatened to turn all the forces of the palace against the little man if he did not leave at once. The little man grinned wider. "Do as you will," he said, "but have no fear. I shall have your child, even if I have to spirit him away by magic." The queen was terrified. She wept with such grief and begged so piteously that at last the mannequin felt mercy touch his heart. "I will strike you a bargain," he said. "You have 3 days to guess my name. If you discover it, you can keep your child." Bought a bottle of vodka, 4 packets of aspirin, and then that's it. End of money. The Queen was in turmoil, trying to think of every name. She sent out messengers far and wide to inquire after every other name. And when the little man came, on the next day she began with Casper, Melchior, Balthazar. But at every one the little man said, "No, that is not my name." On the second day she began with the most strange and unusual names. "Perhaps your name is Spindleshanks, Spiderlegs, Cowribs." But at every one the little man said, "No, that is not my name." On the third day the poor Queen was in despair, pulling her hair out with anguish, trying to think of every last name under the sun. And the King, he could know none of this. For if he discovered how she had deceived him with the golden straw, he would have her killed for sure. I loved him, you know. More than life. More than anything in the world. More than life. She made her decision as dawn began to break. Took up a pillow. She took up her child and fled into the fading darkness, and the King would never hear from her again. Going up there, gliding on the water to the moon. The Queen rode on horseback for days with her child, over mountains, through forests and dark streams, until one day they reached a magical land. A land where the dazzling sun always shone and the food was always plenteous, where they danced in the grass and the trees. They danced together all the way to the moon. And of course, they lived happily ever after. It's time to go, Jordan. One thing or another now. Life sentence. Freedom. Freedom.